Hi, I've recently been working on archiving and cataloging some of my oldest computer data. One of the things I spent the most time doing when I was younger was playing around in this little Macintosh program called HyperCard. This is a really cool programming environment where you can draw little pictures, make them animate, write scripts. This was one of the first programming environments that I used. Starting up HyperCard takes you to what's called the home stack, which is a bunch of links to lots of different places, and I've kind of messed with it and put my own touches all over it. So this is what my home stack looked like back in the day. I'm not going to stop to explain what all of this stuff does. This is just a small selection of the things I had around, the ones that I'm willing to show that I'm not too embarrassed about. So we're going to start here with one that's called Bouncing Ball. There's going to be a variety of different experiences in here. I'm going roughly in chronological order. We're starting in 1996. This is a little physics demo that I made just to play with bounce physics, I guess. So I can change the speed of this ball. It bounces in the corners. And I'm not sure I'm going to be able to get this to work. These are in various states of workingness. If I go to the next card, this one involves gravity. So ball is bouncing on the bottom now. I can speed it up horizontally. No, sorry, that's vertically. This is horizontally. All right. A few little hitches here and there, so I'm losing one vertical velocity per bounce, it looks like, and one horizontal on each side. Yeah, so this is just one of the earliest... Whoa. And then it goes up to 14. I'm not sure what did that. This is just one of the earliest things that I did to play with this kind of physics. This was fun. So next up, here's one called 1000 Miles. This was an implementation I made of a card game, a French card game called Mille Bonnes, which means 1,000 milestones, I believe. I'm not sure how complete this is. It looks reasonably complete. Oh, this is made for 2 players, so when I click play, it's going to say, player 2, don't look. This was my solution for, like, a hand of cards that's private to one player or the other. So player 2's eyes are covered. Player 1 is now drawing a card. So I have full tank, 50 miles, full tire, 50 miles, roll, 100. I forget how this game works. I had a physical version of it, like an actual deck of cards. I drew full tire. I seem to recall the idea of this is you're trying to reach, I guess, 1,000 milestones. Well, be the first of the 2 players to do that. So I can play this 100 miles card. And I advanced 100 miles, and that was my turn. Player 1 don't look. Now player 2 is taking their turn. I think this is supposed to show up there. I got a little glitch going on. Sure. No limit is what that said, but I couldn't fit because these icons are very small. So I have a 1000 here, but it's not in the right place, so I think I can't play that. Let's play the 200. So player 2 has advanced 200 miles. Anyway, so there are hazards that one player can inflict on another, like you'll puncture their tires or make them run out of gas or something, and then you have to have a card that will, you know, be a spare tire or a full tank of gas or something. Anyway, not going to play a full game. I'm not sure if you can play through the whole game here. I assume you can. I don't believe I ever actually got anyone to play a full game of this with me in this HyperCard stack. But I wrote the whole thing, and it was an interesting experience to do so. So in HyperCard, a lot of what I did was in this little icon editor. So there are 32 by 32 icons you can draw in this very nice bitmap editor. It's just black and white, easy to use, very intuitive. You give it an identifier, and you can refer to that in scripts and, like, say, you know, this is a button with the icon of 50 miles per hour. Well, this is just 15 miles. This is misnamed. And then in the script of that button, sure, let's take a look here. There's a bunch of stuff. What on earth? Exit to HyperCard. I don't remember how the scripting language works exactly, but I sure did work with it a lot back then. Anyway, so has a whole bunch of behavior here. Where's the... Yeah, the code, you know, this is like 12-year-old Alex's code, so it's not going to be great. But anyway, mouse still down, set the lock of me to mouse lock. Yeah, so this is like the dragging logic. If the mouse is still down, This will be called repeatedly set the location, position on screen, of me, the thing that owns this script, to the location of the mouse on screen. So that's how the dragging works. And then I guess on mouse up it resets to its base position. Anyway, so that's 1,000 miles. So still in 1996, if my creation dates can be trusted, there's this little thing called The Casino 1.0. So this one's a little smaller. I didn't want to draw larger artwork, I guess. So I used to play a game on the Apple IIgs called One Arm Battle, which was a little slot machine game. I'll probably play that on the channel one of these days, just to see what it was like. And that kind of got me interested in the idea of gambling machines and how they work. And just as a little programming exercise, I wanted to implement a few. This is a fairly standard slot machine. You start with $10 and can insert quarters. Whatever number was inserted here will either be lost if you don't win anything, or, you know, doubled or tripled if you get lucky, etc. So I got nothing. I can insert again, play again. And I mean, this is just calling a random number function, so you know, it works like an actual slot machine, I guess. I've never used a slot machine in person, but it is possible to win this, if you get lucky. I'm not going to spin until it does. But anyway, there are two other machines. I can also click Reset Money to just go back to the default $10 if I've spent it all. So this is a little rock, paper, scissors machine. Apparently at some point I had opened this card with $60 in my pocket, but then it took a moment to initialize to my current money value. So click to insert a coin, I wager 25 cents, I will play rock. I won! And those wonderful sound effects were lifted from various sources. I don't know where that one came from, but none of these were original, made by me. Let's play scissors. Tie, so I got my money back. I'm going to put in a whole dollar and play paper. And I won! Alright, so rock, paper, scissors works better for me. I mean, you know, the win expectancy is what you would expect. This would, on average, give you exactly the money you spend on it back. And then there's this other one. I think this might have been based on money-making game from The Legend of Zelda. That would be my guess as to what my inspiration here was. That coin goes in slower. So let's see, I think 3 of these give me nothing. One of them gives me my money back, and the other one is... how much is it? This would be the highest profit expectancy, I believe. So nothing. 5 times your wager. Yeah, so I'm not sure what the average payout from the... right, you can just click left and right to go to other machines. Not sure what the average payout from the slot machine is. I don't know how the odds on this worked. I'm not sure what I based these reels on. I'm sure... Here we go. I got a cherry, so I got twice what I put in. Anyway, yeah, so this would be the highest profit here, if you cared about that. And then if I click exit, I think it just goes back to the home stack. So that was the casino. Alright, next up's going to be a strange one. This is simply titled A. This is a long, elaborate animation done in 32 by 32 pixels, black and white, with sound effects, and it's like a little story going on. So this was, again, like I was 12 or 13 years old. This is surprisingly violent, actually, so I'll give you a warning about that. But anyway, this is fairly long and elaborate. I'm just going to let it play and let it speak for itself. I could explain the parts of this, but I'm just going to let it do its thing. That's the whole thing. That was as much as I animated. Anyway, yeah, so subject matter aside, this taught me a whole lot of things about animation. So this is just me going into the icon editor and drawing one frame at a time. Just each one of those animation frames was its own 32 by 32 icon, 2047 of them. I have a different version of this that had a few more right at the very end. There's a little rope here that the guy climbs up, but for some reason in that version I messed up the sound effects and I don't think it worked as well, so I prefer this version. You're not missing much, just basically walk over here, climb up a rope, and that was all that I put there. Anyway, so that was A. Okay, so this was, I forget what this was supposed to be. I think the idea was, this doesn't actually work if I click it. I think the idea was I was going to try doing a 64 by 64 animation in this area by just changing 4 icons at a time. Then this was supposed to be a pixel doubled version, so it would be a little bit easier to see, but this is the only one that actually works. So here's one that's called 3D, very emphatically. This is some sort of little drawing tool that is meant to be, I click here, and I am drawing in 3D space. It's very cumbersome to use and just kind of not very good for much of anything, but it was a fun little toy. So I'm plotting kind of a little pixel, a circle. I can only plot 1 pixel at a time. But yeah, so I'm making a circle here, and over here on the back, it plotted a circle from the other perspective, and then left, right, top, bottom. If I hold the Command key, I move on the Z-axis one way. If I hold the Option key, I move on the Z-axis the other way. Anyway, yeah, so this isn't quite a 3D modeling program, but it was a very early attempt at something like that in HyperCard. Just an interesting little experiment. So for the other 3D thing, this is called 3D Pictures. I had an interest in stereoscopic 3D images at one point. If you can look at this, if you can reconverge your eyes, so you're looking past this, so this is a walleye stereogram, you'll see that this picture is actually 3-dimensional. So you can see little guys standing a little in front of the house, the doorknob actually sticks out, the roof is actually, well, something. Then the guy in the background is way in the background. And down here, this is just, this is closer than that. And if I go to the next card, this is actually an interactive version, so I can move left and right, staying on the same plane. I can move in and out. So if you look at it the normal way, you can see this one moves straight up and down, this one moves at a bit of an angle to give the illusion of depth, just for each eye to see a different image. That's all there is to that. I don't actually scale the thing in the background or do collision detection or anything. But this was a fun little experiment. If you know how to do that trick with your eyes, I think this is fun to look at. Alright, let's get to the one that everybody has been looking at in the list. Beavis and Butt-head Remote. So this is a reproduction of a physical toy that I had at one point. It's basically a little soundboard. So this was a remote control shaped thing. I don't know when or why or how I got this, but you press a button with a little icon that I have redrawn here, and it would play a sound. So let's go through each one.
This sucks, dang it. Whoa.
That was probably more readable on the original one. I don't know what that's supposed to be, but it makes Beavis scream, so who knows?
Shut up, ass munch. Don't make me kick your ass. That's cool.
Ah, these are nachos. I see what that is. I could not figure that out earlier when I was putting these together. So right, this thing was already kind of tinny in physical form, and I'm sure I recorded it with a not-so-great microphone, so hopefully that was at least audible. Alright, so we're in 1997 now. Here's something called Explorer 2. Let's see if this works. So check it out, color. Not going to explain how that's done. I barely understood it back in the day, but basically, like, there are ways to incorporate extensions to HyperCard that can do things it can't normally do, and I used one here to draw some color icons, and I was going to try and make a full re-implementation of Explorer, which is a game on the 2GS, which I played on this channel. This was as far as I got with it. So ferry over a field of water, can move around, and that's it. If I go off a screen edge, the thing will crash, so I'm not doing that. That's what this is. So another video game inspired one, Super Mario Bros. 3. Yeah, that should look fairly familiar. So I guess I drew this to fit into the default HyperCard stack size and look like the Mario 3 title screen. If I click, there's a silly little toy here. I have a Mario, and I have a few things I can click here. If I steer left, I can move left. Steer right, I can move right. How is this? I press Option to jump. That's the one. And I can duck for just a little while. If I hold it, it just repeats. It doesn't like start ducking on press and stop on release. It's just for a specific amount of time. Let's see. So I can get hit by an enemy. I get hit by an enemy again. And Mario dies, but then he comes back because he had a 1-up. I can get a 1-up, which doesn't do anything other than play the sound. So this keeps track of my power-up state. Got a mushroom. You can hear, if you listen closely, that was just a recording of actually playing the game. There's like the music underneath the power-up sound and a few other things going on. I can get a fire flower, which you can't see because it's black and white, but there's a button I can press to throw a fireball. There we go. Look at that. Isn't that nice? Alright, yeah, so everything locks up while that's happening. This is a modal action. Can't play while that's going on. I can get a leaf, and, you know, respects the animation frames for everything. How do I jump like that? Let's see, I can't swish my tail. But yeah, I can, you know, switch from one to the other. That little poof effect was not faithful to the original. That was just something I drew myself, I guess. So right, lost my fire flower, now I'm just in basic state. Anyway, that's all that this toy is. So this one is an original game that I made. This is one of the more elaborate stacks that I did. Multi-puzzle by Alex. So this is sort of a Sokoban-like game. You're gonna have to be patient as it loads the levels. It claims there are 70 levels. There are actually just 8, but still, there are 8 levels there. There's this little countdown that shows up in the message box as it fills in all these tiles. I made it so I could have a very large level here, but I'm only using a little bit of the space. But anyway, as each level builds itself, it's gonna scan across and do that. So this is a like multi-agent Sokoban. These two characters both have to get to the exit, and each one can be controlled with different keys on the keyboard. And they work together to get... this is a rock that can be pushed around. This is a hole that rocks can be pushed into. Okay, let's see. The arrow keys on this keyboard are in a funny layout. So, white shirt here cannot cross there. I could push the rock if I wanted to. That was a taskmaker sound. Black player can take turns to do this. Alright, and push a rock into a hole, and then he can walk across. So both of them exit. You have finished the level. Let's go to the next one. So I'll spare you from how long this takes to go through. Actually, oh, that's interesting. So it's a lot quicker if the tile type that it's setting is already what it is. Yeah, so this is basically just going as fast as it can. This poor little computer is doing as much as it can to load this entire level. I'm sure this could be optimized to go faster. It slows way down at the end for some reason. Anyway, so level 2. Looks like just basic. No, not so basic. So this is taking advantage of the fact that I have 2 characters to play as. There's a little delay on the movement every time. Just have to think ahead and be sure I will be in place. See, I've already messed up, so I have to restart. Oh boy, it has to rebuild the level. Yeah, no undo on this. It's that kind of Sokoban. So, first let's get you into place. Yeah, there's a big delay on any key press that I do, making this a little hard to use. If I do a whole bunch in a row, they all seem to queue up. I don't know what's going on there. It's like it goes to sleep or something once I've done a few inputs. So right, if I position white shirt here, black shirt then, can put everything where it needs to go. There we go. Alright, next level. Alright, this would appear to be an ice level, so white shirt is trapped, black shirt, these characters don't have names. Just like in Leaf's Odyssey, you can walk around all you want in the ice, but the things you push will slide. So I did not intentionally take that idea from here, but I guess all the way back in 1997, that was how I expected ice to work. I've gotten a lot of comments on Leaf's Odyssey about the way the ice works. People are often surprised that the characters are unaffected, but the objects are. So I guess this is just what makes sense to me. Next level! Well, this is going to be an exercise in tedium. Oh, shoot. And because I forgot which set of keys controls which character, I've already messed it up. Anyway, you can see what to do here. Put a character there, push the rock once. Put a character there, push the rock. Repeat way more times than is necessary. And then get to the end. Let's try again. Alright, so let's get the right character here. Go into place. Push this. You're gonna have to get into place. Push down. Yep, so just same action repeats again and again. I have this little thing to go around if I want to. Right, because that's necessary, otherwise black shirt could not get into place. Just don't forget to move the character to the place. As long as you don't forget that, looks like everything should be fine. So I'm holding the key this whole time. That uneven movement was all just what the game did. Yep. Exercise in patience here. I think something is going on, like, as I get farther south, my movement is slower. I wonder if there's some, like, looping through all tiles involved with the scripting in this. Whoa. That slowed down a lot. I don't know why the timing is so funny. This is on original hardware, so this is how it always has been. Anyway, looks like this level is done. Whoa. I don't think it's intentional that the boulder goes slower after sliding for like 15 tiles or however many. Seems like it's just something that happens because of the way the code works. Next level! Alright, more traditional ice sliding puzzle here. White shirt is totally trapped, so this is all the black shirt puzzle. So, I need the rock to go down here, so it needs to be against one of these two on that side. Both of them look possible if I could come north to here, which I cannot. So come north to south here. Alright, so to do this backwards, I'm going to tap on that, this, that. Oh, this is longer than necessary. Okay, so I've traced all the way back to where I am. Mostly just... Oops. How many decision points are there here that are non-obvious? Not a lot. This is pretty gentle and forgiving. Well, actually, it's not very forgiving, because if I mess up, I have to restart and make the whole level build itself all over again. So far, so good. There's that uneven movement again. I don't know why that is. I was holding that whole time. Going south, it seems fine. It's like just... No, going west there was also fine. Anyway. Just a little mystery. That's gonna slow down, as it does. Alright, that's level 5 done. Next! Alright, readability on this one's a bit unfortunate, but you can see what's going on. We got clean bits of ground, and ice, and same principle as before, just instead of barriers, you stop on exactly the place where the stone is going. Do you now? Okay, so there's only one. Also, I have to play as the character who controls the less good way. There's only one thing I can do there. Black shirt is trapped. Oh, I see. There's a little notch in the north that I did not spot, which means this move is not stuck. Okay. Once again, this is probably just do the only thing you reasonably can and just don't mess up. I didn't trace out a path, so this time I'm just going to trust it, that it's going to work. If I mess up here, it's probably going to be because these arrow keys are in a funny layout. They're 4 in a row instead of the standard inverse T shape. Oh, yep, so moving lots of directions I did not mean to move there. But there we go. That's level 6 done. 2 more to go. Oh, this is neat. I see what's going on here. So now, both characters are on the grid, and of course, one of them can act as a boulder obstacle when the other one pushes the boulder. So... right, and of course if I push the boulder into one of these holes, it's lost and can't fill that hole to get to the exit. Alright, so let's do some thinking ahead. Based on this layout, what I probably want is one character to stand here, and the other to push the boulder from there. So then I need a character here, a boulder coming south toward it, which would mean probably pushing from here to there, with somebody standing here. North to south, somebody standing there. Okay, so which of these can I stop on? This one. Okay, so I think that's sufficient for getting this started. Cursor, please move. No, because I can't push that way. Alright, so now... or hang on, maybe I can save this. Let's see, so if I pushed this way, then south... yes, this is a little more freeform. There we go. Alright, white shirt stands here. Black shirt pushes there. Black shirt is the backstop. White shirt carefully pushes here. Oh, this big delay on every input. I don't love it. Okay. And I think that is level done. Neat. Alright, just one left. What's it gonna be? Looks like a pretty similar concept, just with more holes and less space to walk. Okay, well, this is an obvious first move, so I'm going to start with that before I look at the rest. I will be pushing south at some point. And where would I like it to stop? This is not useful. This is probably what I want, because I can't have somebody already in here to push west, and everything else is useless. Therefore, I can deduce this must be the right move. Okay, next I'm going to be pushing west, and I want it to stop probably here, because that's the only one that lets me continue. Okay? Once again, if I just do the one thing that could possibly work, I don't have to evaluate the entire state space. So next best thing to do is probably going to be to stand here. Yep, I think I'm almost done actually. So you stand there, push south, and you're going to have to be a backstop one more time right here. Catch that rock, slide it down, and there we go. I believe that is game complete, or at least as many levels as I bothered to make for it. If I go to the next one, let's see what happens. It's just going to be all white, no characters to move, then it'll probably like crash or something because it doesn't know what's happening. Maybe not. Let's see what happens here. Did I handle this case in any way? It'll probably be fine until I press a key and then it won't know what to do because there's no character. That is my guess. So I'm going to press a key. Oh? Surprisingly, it just sounds like I'm walking into a wall. Okay, so I guess I did handle that. I'm going to click abort. Takes me back to the title screen. This had some sort of level editor in it. I don't know how well this works. I played with it a bit before. This must be like another kind of ice or something. Can I try this out? What level is this? Save load. Save? In which slot? Here we go. Let's save this in slot 9. Let's see how this shinier ice behaves. Maybe it's the sort of ice that does affect characters. Oh boy. Okay, so I saved this in slot 9. I just had this extra 9th level that does not look like it's complete. It's a copy of one of the other ones with a different object type that was not used. So yeah, floor, wall, character. Oh, I think I can actually place multiples of the same character and have, like, actual same input multi-agent movement. I remember doing that at some point, but none of the 8 levels I had actually constructed seemed to have done that. Okay, so I saved in slot 9. If I were to exit and play, starting at level 9. Okay, here we go, it's loading. Alright, so what does extra shiny ice do? Nothing. I can't move through it. Oh, okay. So I guess that object just doesn't work. Cannot move. Alright. I don't know what I had in mind for this. That information is lost to time. But yeah, so the level editor just works. I guess what I would do is I would click that. You can't see that it's selected, but it is. And then just paint where I want to paint. And yeah, wow. It's kind of fascinating how much of the DNA of like future projects I would make I can already see in this one. All the way back in 1997. This is super cool to see again. I like that. Alright, just a few more. This is another implementation of I guess it's not a card game, it's a dice game. So Yahtzee, oh, that's not supposed to look like that. That's okay. It has been, since I made this in 1997, since I last played Yahtzee, so I do not remember how to play this game actually. It's supposed to look like this. Rolls left 2. So I want to get particular patterns whose names are hinted at with these. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 2. Let's try re-rolling the 2. Let's try re-rolling the 2. I want to say 1, 2, 3, 4 maybe makes small straight, like 4 in a row. Okay, it gave me 30 points. So rolls left 3. This is a new turn. I assume I can't score... Yeah, so whoops! Oh, shoot. Well, I guess I scored 0 for that turn. Alright, I see 2 4s. Let's try and roll some more of those. Once again, as far as I know, this is honest random number generation. No, like, extra tuning here. Alright, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's do another small straight. Sure. Ooh, all those 6s. Can I get... Ooh! 5 6s. 6s. Okay. 30 points. I certainly knew how the scoring system worked when I wrote this, but I do not remember now. So if I click on 4s, that gave me 16 points. I guess 4 times 4, 6 times 5. Okay, I see how it is. Anyway, yeah, so this is an implementation of Yahtzee. I could probably play the full game and get the score here and everything, but I think we've seen enough. Alright, so fast forwarding to 1998. This is called A Game or Something. So there's a little story behind this. My second cousin, who I was pretty good friends with at the time, came to visit for a week, and he was doing something, playing Nintendo 64 or something like that, and I was messing around on the computer, and I wanted to show him what HyperCard could do. So in like 20 minutes, I booted it up, made a new stack, drew this little thing. This is kind of like a first-person point-and-click sort of thingy. Just a tiny little prototype. Right, so I guess the idea is I'm in my front yard. My lawn is very long. Have not mowed in a while, I guess. Locked out of my house. So you go into the dry swimming pool, climb down to the bottom, get the house key, climb back up. And now that I have the key, I can click on the door and get into the house. And that's the entire thing. So I would mess around with a lot of stuff like this. You know, this is a very classic style of HyperCard stack. So just full screen, first person images drawn like this. Click around, do things. This is probably inspired by, you know, Cosmic Osmo, The Manhole, those old Cyan games. That was as much as it was because I only spent 20 minutes on this, but I thought it was worth showing. Alright, fast forward to 1999. I guess I was 15 at this point, so this is Diagnol buttons. I could not quite spell diagonal at that time, I guess. I was practicing some slightly more advanced programming things, and I had an idea for how to do hit detection for not just like a square region. I wanted to do one with diagonal lines. So I have several different ways of Yeah, so this is just saying you are or you are not inside the triangle here. So it just gives exact hit detection for that point while it is in this mode. Point 1 on the left, I guess that's point 1 on the right. That's for this triangle. It's exact enough. It's a little off here. I should be inside in this pixel, I feel like. But yeah, I am just mathematically like adding x to y and dividing by the appropriate amount. Then this one like actually works like a button, so I can click here, here, but there it does not actually highlight. This one just highlights when the mouse is inside it. So just several different... I don't know what this is about. Okay, right, so it flashes the screen if I click on the inside. All 4 corners here. Anyway, yeah, so a lot of the stacks I did not show are little programming experiments like that, but this was one of the better put together ones, I guess. Alright, and the final one that I want to show here, fast forwarding again to the year 2000, I was working a job at a language learning software company, and I had the idea I wanted to learn to read Kana in Japanese, and I had the idea that I could put together a little application for quizzing myself on what I knew. I used to be able to read this pretty well. I am less good at it nowadays. I would like to relearn. So this is one mode that I can go into that'll give me a prompt here. This is the, what do they call this? Romaji representation of one of these characters. Which one do you think is Do? I believe it's this one. That's correct. Ryu. Okay. Will I get this right? I'm pretty sure it's this one. That's a pair of them, a big one and a small one. All of these characters were just drawn by me based on some reference material. Some of them are going to be inaccurate because of that. But I think it's mostly almost readable. Chu. Can I figure this out? I think it's this one. No, that can't be right. This one? That was it, okay. Cho. So that will have the same first large character, but a different second one. This one? Okay, I got it. Sho. I think this is the second character I'm looking for, but which of these is the first one? I also could be wrong on that. If you write this a little bigger, it sounds like yo on its own. Let's guess this. I am wrong. Let's guess this. I am wrong. Oh, right, of course, it's this one. If I had actually read that one, I would have seen. This is like shi and then small yo. Gyo. Okay, so I'm doing a lot of compound ones. I don't have this weighted toward like just doing the single characters on their own. So gyo is going to be, yeah, so this is gi, this is small yo, which together makes gyo. Ryo, similar principle, ri, yo. Za, okay, so a single one. Since it's a voiced consonant, this is going to be like what is sa, but with this little double mark in the upper right. So I believe it's this one. This would be ga, this would be something. I'm not sure. Anyway, that's za. Mu, another compound. I know it's not this. It has the little mark on it. That's not it. So I'm looking for you. I know this is yo. Which one of these is you? And then I need me next to small u. I was working with this character before. I don't think it's that one. I'm going to guess this. Okay, I deduced it correctly. O, simple vowel. What does O look like? It must be this. Okay, so I remember hiragana. We can also do katakana, and we can go the other way around. Katakana I am much less good at reading, so I'm going to get most of these wrong. Well, okay, so it has the same little double mark up there, so I can deduce some things about this. So here's the Japanese character, the katakana character. Here's the romaji. So that's going to be... Zu is the only one this could be. That looks very familiar, but will I be able to tell what it is? Let's try... Okay, I know it's not zu, because we just did that. I don't think it's a. Could be to? Let's try to. Nope. Let's try he. Nope. Ni. Nope. It's not ah. It is ah. That's why it looked so familiar. So that's a common one. All right. Yeah. So a lot of this is just kind of cheating by seeing the little extra mark there, and that narrows down the search space. I think this is G. That's involved in ka, ta, ka, na. It's one of those. Let's assume it's ka. Yep. Anyway, so you get the idea. Yeah, so this, I actually took this to my job at that company, and this was a thing that I showed. I don't know if these other modes work. This might. Right, so you want me to... there's no Q in Japanese, so I didn't include that in this keyboard. Right, so this is an advanced mode. It would show you this character, and you have to type what you think it is. I have no idea what that is. Give me one that I know, maybe? Give me one that I know, maybe? Alright, I'm not gonna embarrass myself with this. Yeah, this is a much more advanced testing mode. Does this do anything? No, wait, yes, maybe? Is this like an actual word, or... I don't know if I had a dictionary of words here. This looks like it's full words. And then other way around, then typing. Yeah, okay, so you can see those three variations for single letters and for full words, hiragana and katakana. Anyway, yeah, so this got me a programming job at that company. I had started doing audio editing, and I showed this to the people there, and they were impressed enough to put me on the programming team at the time. So those are the HyperCard stacks I wanted to show. At some point, I may do an actual, like, programming HyperCard video of some sort, just to see what that's like, see what that was like, and do it again for real. But I just wanted to show off some of these old things I had kicking around, because I think a lot of them are fun. So I hope you enjoyed seeing these ancient projects of mine.